make sure it's kosher. Lean on me like Bill Withers until you smell the roses.
What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Subscribe or die trying. You see the thumbnail, young black man, keep moving. Sometimes you have to overcome their struggle. Your parents, sometimes you'll suffer because of the sins of the father or the sins of the mother. Sometimes, that's the card you're dealt. That's the life you have. Your parents can be, you know, your parents could have been bad with money, right? And because they're bad with money, when they had you, you're gonna have to overcome them being bad with money because it's gonna affect how you come up and your opportunities as a young teenager, or young adult. Because they ain't got it because they got, they decided to do other things. You might have to overcome that. The same way people talk about if they have a drinking problem or a drug problem. That problem is going to affect you because of all the things that all the negative things that go with having a drinking problem or a drug problem that the family has to deal with. So at the end of the day, you got to take into consideration that you're going to have to overcome their issues. They're not going to be as reliable as most. They're not going to be as stable as most. So they might be, the instability is going to cost you. You might have to move from school to school to school to school to school, or neighborhood to neighborhood, house to house, new friends every now and then, because you're going to have to overcome their struggles, because their struggles, are a calamity on their life, but guess who has to deal with it? You. So what if they have an anger issue, and they burn bridges because of their anger, or they burn bridges because of not anger but manipulation, or they tried to get over and they got caught up. Now you might have to overcome your parents' reputation of being a scam artist, or not a good person, or not a good friend, not a good family member. And because of that, they're skeptical of you. And not necessarily because of anything you've done, but more so because at the end of the day, if you come around, you can be used as a pawn for your parent to try to use somebody else to get ahead. And nobody's feeling that. So you might have to overcome their struggles. You know, it's no nice way to say this. They might have, trauma, let's just say that. And because of that trauma, they're very dysfunctional. And you can understand that trauma made them dysfunctional, but unfortunately, though they're living with the consequences of their dysfunction, you're living with it also. So however it plays out, whether it's destructive behavior, self-sabotaging behavior, um, how can I say this properly? Let's just say dangerous behavior that could cost you more than a few dollars. It could cost you your life. Bringing that element will put a hindrance on your life. Sometimes you got to overcome their struggles, and sometimes same thing. I've known people who've decided to be in the let's just say the streets, right? And sometimes their issues and adversities or drama or beefs come home. They could bring it home, or their enemies could bring it to their home. And sometimes you have to overcome, the consequences of what went on in your home, or is going on in your home, and the places you can go. Because that also happens. Some places you can't go because of you need to overcome their struggle. Some people are gonna sabotage. Like there are some people who really have an issue with your parents, but they can't really get to your parents, but they find out that you're their kid, and they'll take it out on you. And fair or not, it's gonna happen. It's not fair, I'm just saying, but you have to overcome your parent struggle because, you know, there are people who take cheap shots like that and they feel like that's a good idea and that's fair and that's how life should work. So if I can't, and sometimes they use you as a pawn to get your parent out of hiding and ducking them so they can finally handle them. So like they get your parents can bring you their problems. And sometimes, you have to overcome their struggles because maybe they didn't approach life in the best way, trying to protect themselves and in essence sabotage you. So, don't think, you might not deserve it. It might be unfair, but it happens. You got to be prepared if it happens to you because, you know, a lot of people are doing too much. Let's just say it that way. So tell me what you think. Like, share, subscribe, or die trying. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace.
You ever been at the top of the universe? I'm gonna take you.